Okay, you guys all know how to use the little hand thing like Isabel did?
Yes.
That's a great way to just get your question. That way I can see like, okay, somebody's got a question. And I will stop every 3 to 5 minutes. If I don't, I kind of expect one of you to say, hey, I need a break. Because last night it got about 10 minutes in and it was like, oh shit, I went too far, to change the screen, engage somebody. And that change is what keeps us from sort of falling asleep into the monotone lecture. Okay, share screen. So I started making the PowerPoints for today. And we also have, if you go into the 4 Foundations manual, there it is. So I started this chapter. The Healing with Whole Foods book, you guys, is the book to help you with the process versus static ways of seeing. Healing with Whole Foods by Paul Pitchford. The chapter kind of starts at page 49 and it goes through for about 40, 50 pages. So if you don't have the book Healing with Whole Foods, highly recommend. Can I edit that? Yes, I can. Or let's bold that up. Oh, you can't bold. Okay, you can't bold in a comment. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I tried. Okay, so I went on to Canva, and this is a little GIF video process. There's no sound. So you see there's a process there, right? You can see the process, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Then what do? Measure the process, right? So there's a photograph of the first part of the process, right?
Right.
And there's a photograph of the next part of the process. And there's a photograph of the next part of the process. And there's another photograph of the next step of the process. Is these photographs, in fact, the process?
Nope.
Nope. Very good. But that's what we're worshiping. That's why the Bible says, thou shalt not worship false idols. The worship of the snapshots is the worship of the wrong part. The study of the process is the study of life. The study of cadavers and dead people and isolated chemistry is the study of death, by definition. See, from left to right there, right? There's more red blood cells, increasing, right? Oh, did I go offline here?
No, still stands.
Okay. I can't see you guys. The window thing closed, which is pretty interesting. So back to the slideshow. Sorry. So then we take a snapshot of that, right? Red blood cell, 4.77. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a snapshot of this process here. Increasing or decreasing, right? Any given moment. So you see, we're studying whether something is being put together or broken apart. And that's the basis of the chapter in Healing with Whole Foods, is about the basics of yin and yang. So the basics of yin and yang we're going to go through, but it's wet or dry, hot or cold. He uses interior or exterior. You could say excess deficiency. So nutritionally, that's what we're going to be concerned with, is the dualities of health. And even this slide here is not entirely correct. There's context that's missing. Like there are anabolic things that are light. There's catabolic things that are dark, but it's a generalization to see. There's your, see, acute, chronic. These are your dualities right here, right? Catabolic, anabolic, heating, cooling, drying, moistening. So the question when a new client comes in and that puts you ahead of the game of every single other person out there is, what's the process that's occurring in this person? What's the process occurring in this person? And I'm going to give you the language to do that. I believe that's the last slide of the new slides here. Yes. Oh, edition of the book. Thank you. It's the 3rd edition. Thank you, Isabel. 3rd edition, Healing with Whole Foods. That's a great question. Okay, so process versus static ways of seeing life. Let's stop there for a second. And any questions?
It's so interesting that light and dark fall where they do, because I could make an argument for it both ways. I could make an argument that light is the anabolic. I can see why it's both, but it wouldn't be hard for me to choose if I didn't see it on the list already chosen.
So what comes up when you say that, Monica, is last out on natural law, I was talking about the paradox the ego has to learn to sit within. And one of mine that was one of the first ones that struck me was when I saw what I really am, there was this, wow, I'm nothing. And yet there's thoughts right here. I'm nothing, and yet there's something sitting in this chair meditating on a 5-day silent retreat in 2004, when I was 39 years old. And there's nothing to resolve. That's why my book I wrote years ago is called No Resolution in Paradox. Our ego wants resolution, but there is none in paradox. And that's what you're starting to look at, Monica, is these paradoxes that people are also. People are huge paradoxes. So light and dark, yes. And that's why we always need context in every situation. That's what yin and yang is. It's context. There is no absolute yin or absolute yang. That's baloney. They're made up words. They don't mean anything. Yin and yang don't mean anything in and of themselves. You could use the word alpha and beta. It just means the duality is present. So whenever you see something high, there will be something low. Whenever you see light, just like the background behind me, right? You see a mixture of light and dark. Light can't exist without dark.
Right.
Love can't exist without hate. The top can't exist without the bottom. The inside can't exist without the outside. Oh, we got a hand up. Okay. Isabel.
Actually, that's a clap. Clap, and there's a hand raise. The hand raise is like a clap. Oh, good.
I didn't notice the clap.
Yeah, clap is a short-lived little thing like the party hat. So Isabel looks like she has an actual question now. Go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was told that as we are moving to 5D, that it might not be such a good idea to talk about dualities, but talk about polarities instead.
Polarity.
And I wanted to, that hand is still up there.
Yeah, you do have to take it down.
So I just wanted to point that out, that, you know.
Okay, I have a homework for you, Isabel. Go to your best dictionary and look up duality and look up polarity, and let's talk about it next week. The root of the word, I'm not interested in the definition. I'm interested in the root meaning way back 1,000 years ago of these words, because the current definitions have been, muddled.
Oh, yeah.
Duality versus polarity. And I'll do the same. I have an American Heritage 11th edition that's, it's like 4 inches thick. So I'll check and then we can talk about it, because that's what natural law is about, is using words correctly, because words are, quote, at best pointers at reality.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have to rely on online versions, because the physical versions have already been packed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you could probably find on some decent browser that's not Google, some fair online dictionary on DuckDuckGo or something.
I never Google anymore. I can't.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Because when we Google, we're getting distorted results.
We don't even want to say that. It's so gross.
You know, Shahid still says the Google. I was giving him a hard time last week. So, oh, the Google, da da da. It's not a person, man.
Google Play.
The Google.
I've heard that Swiss cows is also good, just to throw that out there besides quant. So
Great.
another one.
All right, that's fantastic. Let's go back to. It's nice to just, you know, break off for a minute, have a discussion. So last time we were kind of here. Remember, we're going through. So there we are. We were starting points. What are elements? And today we're in life processes. And I don't know, maybe these first 6, 7, 8 here that I have sort of outlined. Like, you got to start with what is health, because if you don't have establish a context for how we see health, and, you know, it doesn't really work. And then what is nutrition? You know, these could be in the same class. Then what are elements? And then how do elements relate to life processes? So back to this, then I kind of made a little slide up here, I thought. Yeah, right here. So we're working on the foundation and how it relates with elements. And so we have some chooser stuff here. So to review, I didn't want to get this done. What do you guys think? I really like having you guys' screen up there. I don't know why I'm not able to see it anymore. Huh.
You mean being able to see our faces?
Yeah, because that's kind of how I read the meeting.
So you want to go to your view in the upper right corner and choose gallery or side-by-side gallery.
Oh, because I was on the pin. That's right. Thank you.
Yes.
Just kind of
And
help
then-
read there. Oh, wait, no.
Even when you are pinned, you can still see the gallery.
Remove gallery view. Share screen. Interesting. Still not there. Oh, well. You guys, I think if you raise a hand, I'll get a, would somebody raise their hand really quick and see if it pops up on my screen?
Yep.
And nothing. Oh, wait, yeah. So if you raise your hand, I'll see it.
Okay. Oh, that makes it pop up.
See that little black pop-up right there?
And then it goes away if, well, you do see it on my picture, but I don't know if you're seeing
Yeah,
it.
I'll see it. So that's great. That's perfect, actually. Okay. So what do you think are some of the elements? See, we're looking at the elements associated with each foundation. So blood sugar, what's one of the main minerals associated with proper blood sugar? It's the total cliche. What's that one mineral everyone associates with blood sugar?
I want to go with magnesium because of it being so basic to it.
Chromium
Chromium. Oh, sure.
and potassium. So that's really, for blood sugar, those are the two most important, and then protein. And then why protein? Anybody want to try? Why is protein important for blood sugar?
Well, first of all, protein is involved in everything. And second of all, it
I just love this.
slows down. It slows down. It doesn't lead to the spikes. It evens out the glycemic process.
Very good. Yeah, it evens out the glycemic. That's one reason. Fat would also be included there. But there's another reason. What is the hormone associated with blood sugar? What are the two main hormones associated with blood sugar?
Vitamin D.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing this in the beginner class probably. Okay, I'm just going to tell you.
What is
Yeah.
Your insulin and glucagon
Oh, sure.
are made from protein.
Wasn't gonna come up with the word glucagon, that's for sure.
So that's actually worth, let's see, a little chart here. Oh, we can put a chart right here. So watch this. Insert drawing. New. So insulin and glucagon have a little deal together. Do we have? Oh, we do. A little shape, a little triangle. What color shall we make it? Let's do a little triangle guy here. Can't say. Oh God. Okay, won't let me do it.
Well, can't sync them, but it's saving them.
Yeah, it won't. I'll have to go to a whiteboard real quick. I'll save the whiteboard. Okay, whiteboard. I think the program just gets pissy. Okay, we're gonna draw straight lines. And let's do this in brown. Okay, so here's the base of the teeter-totter sort of here. And then let's make the board maybe red. So here's the board. And then on one side is insulin. And the other side is glucagon. So they're antagonistic hormones. So what does insulin do?
Regulates your blood sugar?
Remember, we're looking at process. Yes, but which direction?
Down.
Lowers blood sugar. Stores fat from excess carbs. That's what it does. It's inflammatory by nature. It's anabolic. In a bad way. Anabolic's not always good.
Yeah.
Then glucagon, by definition, raises blood sugar. It liberates fat into energy. There's a couple other things, but we'll keep it simple. Hey, why don't you go back?
Is it catabolic by nature? Just the basic opposite?
Yeah. Thank you. But there's other. So when this goes bad, so we'll save this. When this goes bad, folks, then we'll do another one. We're going to clear this. Draw a little squiggly. Yes, and let's, yeah, red's okay. So you've seen this before. You want your blood sugar to have these nice layers like that. And if this is the parameter that your body wants the blood sugar to be within, then see, you're all good, right? You're within parameters mostly. Top end of blood sugar, bottom level. So every time it hits the top part here and the bottom part, there's an alarm that goes off. So let's talk about sleep and reactive hypoglycemia then. Sleep issues, staying asleep. This is not going to sleep. Equals reactive hypoglycemia, which equals insulin works too well, equals blood sugar too low, equals alarm in sleep, activating glucagon ideally. Glucagon's not a stimulating hormone per se.
Okay, it doesn't make sense that you wrote sleep issues equals staying asleep. I don't get why, it seems like it's not equals there. When not, yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Wait, no, we want to do that. We want to go down here. But most people are protein deficient. I'm going to say crap building blocks. And instead, the glucocorticoids released to raise blood sugar, which equals adrenaline and epinephrine, and eventually cortisol. So let's get rid of this, put it over here. So what happens is people have a normal sort of blood sugar, and then in these people, instead of a nice clean blood sugar, it's like it's going like this. When what you really want is this. See, the green is desired, the red is not. So if these are your parameters again of normal, see if your parameters of normal are here and here, then you see there's an alarm here, 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 and there's an alarm here. Correct? Because it's out of the range.
Yeah.
The body's freaking out. Too high up here, too low down here.
Yeah.
And this is the sleep issues. These are the sleep issues are down here.
Oh, not at the top.
Blood sugar too low.
Oh, okay.
Great. Let's save that. Now let's go to questions. That's a pretty juicy. What? There we go. Any questions on that?
Can you put the slide back up, the whiteboard back up so we can finish writing it? Didn't have time to write it all.
Yes, share screen. So which one?
The sleep issues and alarm spots. Staying asleep when you're not staying asleep, reactive hypoglycemia that you just had.
How do I find them? Oh, files. There we go.
And where are you doing that? Is it under share screen? Where do you choose to go to the whiteboard?
I've never tried to get it
Back.
during a live call.
Maybe I'm trying to see if
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
try hitting share screen again and see if then you can click on whiteboard.
Yeah, but see if I click on whiteboard.
It gives you a brand new one only. Nope, there it is. So oh, now the question is, can you go back? Right.
Yeah.
What's the one at the bottom? It looks like you can add a page to it. So maybe you deleted the last one because you didn't do the add page. I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, because now it says 2. After you hit that plus, it says 2. So you can hit the arrow back to go back.
Oh, there we go. 1.
But you didn't do that. Somehow you deleted the other one, it looks like.
Well, they're saved. They're in there.
Okay.
And he recorded, so you can.
Yes.
once the-
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry you guys. That was
So Craig, as a recommendation for nutrition, would you then recommend that those people that people who have these staying asleep issues, that they eat solely protein in the evening? And
That's why people say eat a hard-boiled egg before they go to bed, probably.
no. Remember, it's contextualized by person. So a carb type will never do well eating before bed. The pure carb types, they sleep horribly on anything before bed. The pure protein type with an enormous appetite is generally the reactive hypoglycemic type that went wrong. So yes, if they're a protein type, a little snack before bed. Sylvia Skepich had people having an apple by their bed if they woke up with one of these episodes. And she said, have the apple by your bedside. Don't get up and walk around, because as soon as you go vertical, your stress hormones are engaged and you're gonna have a harder time going back to sleep. So yes, protein every meal, but maybe not before bed in some types, Isabel. What you're seeing, what I'm seeing out there is I got a new 75-year-old client. She's an Ayurvedic doctor, no less, and she is not having protein every meal. So like fruit for these people without a protein is a disaster. It's like a big spike up and then a big spike down. So fruit with cheese, fruit with yogurt, fruit with some nuts, better choice. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. So I think I mentioned that before, and I don't want to personalize this discussion, but I've been basically having that like between 1 and 3, those alarm clocks going off, and I stop eating at 5, and I'm going to bed at 9.
Right. Well, some of this is frequency. You know, because I'm having, the only time I'm sleeping straight through the night is out in the Gilroy Mountains, where there is nothing. There is no electrosmog out there, no cell signals, nothing. So we're in a cooker, Isabel. And so we have to find ways to calm ourselves also. The 1 to 3 is the end of blood purification time. And then you're going into lung time. So that window suggests to me there's stuff needing to be let go of in the psyche. Like old grief, old trauma. Now, what happens in these spikes when it hits the bottom and the top, and there's all these alarms going off, I'll be right with you, Anna, is what 3 organ systems on the system survey, Denise and Jen, you won't get this as much, or Shannon, but those of you that studied the system survey with me, which 3 blocks or groupings on the system survey organ systems will suffer from this alarm going off all day, every day from reactive hypoglycemia?
So 7.
Which part of 7?
The endocrine part. 7.
Which organ specifically?
The adrenals.
Very good. Adrenals are impacted because they're making the hormones, the stress hormones. What are the other 2?
Liver.
Very good. Group 5, liver, and group 3, blood sugar management, which is pancreas and gut and other things. So group 3, 5, and 7F, hypoadrenal. If they're in still, one of my teachers long ago said, you can consider hypoglycemia as pre-diabetic. Why would they say that? Hypoglycemia is pre-diabetic. This one teacher said 30 years ago. Really shocked me, actually, because I had hypoglycemia.
I would imagine because you're forcing your system to work harder, and then it'll throw it further and further out of balance. If you're hypoglycemia, then that's just the beginning of the teeter-totter going on.
So I'll give you a good example. When I was in Little League, this kid had a blood sugar crash and he fainted. So the parents were freaking out, you know, and they poured Coke down his mouth, basically. Which is quick sugar, right?
Yeah,
But is that the right form of sugar?
no, it's not.
No. That's what causes the diabetes, is they're putting this fake sugar in people to raise their blood sugar to get them out of danger. Because if your blood sugar drops too low too quickly, you could die. You could die. If your blood sugar goes too high, your chances of dying are very slim. I had a client with a blood sugar of 800 and he was still functioning.
Mm.
Normal is 80 to 90 fasting. 800,
Wow.
hardly any symptoms. So there's a document for this in the natural law group and in the foundations, and the blood sugar folder of the file by topic. There's one called the Dance of Life, another one called the Low Glycemic Lifestyle. Those that blood sugar folder has some great documents describing all of this. The whole system's been built, so I'll be piecing those together for a key chapter in what we're doing here.
Cool.
And then what does blood sugar, long-term blood sugar problems, where's the problem there? Long-term blood sugar issues, where's the two main systems, two or three that suffer from that?
I want to say something with circulation.
Yes, glycation, because sugar is congestive. So yeah, good.
The heart.
We're related to circulation, yes.
Okay.
The joints and then the brain.
Oh,
So a lot of what neuropathy and neuritis is sugar inflammation.
ah,
A lot of Alzheimer's, epilepsy, MS, a lot of the neurological mental disorders, Parkinson's, that's sugar damage to the brain. Advanced glycated end products. You'll see AGE in the medical literature. Advanced glycated end products. That's sugar damage. A lot of people's pain is sugar inflammation, folks, or excessive carbohydrate being turned into sugar inflammation. So if you're working with someone, and you're starting them out, as a general rule, you want them at 250 grams of carbs a day maximum, 80 grams per meal. That's 1,000 calories of carbs. If they're a carb type and they're living in a hot climate, they can have more. But that's a good place to start people and get them on the Chronometer app and have them see, oh, fuck, my goal is 250 a day and I'm doing 800.
mm,
People see that. I'm supposed to have 100 grams of protein and I'm only getting 50. Oh, shit. That's why that app is so important. They can have an experience they can't deny. Because that's what we're trying to do, is give people experiences, not keep them in their freaking heads, right? I don't know how many clients tell me, I'm getting enough protein, I'm getting enough protein, I'm not doing too many carbs. Type it in the Chronometer and find out. Don't assume. Because every one of them that said that was off.
uh-huh.
Every single one.
Mhm,
Until you see, you don't know.
mhm.
And so I lost a client. They didn't want to do the work. It's like, okay, bye. I'm not interested in moving forward with you. If you can't give yourself 10 minutes of self-love to type something in the app, I'm not interested in working with you.
Yeah.
Because that's self-love.
It's such an emotional block. Most
Oh,
of us
huge.
talked about it early on 2 years ago. It's hard to get myself to do it until I've done it a while. There's something about, oh my God, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. Right? I don't want to find out what I'm doing is wrong. I don't have time to make a change.
Right.
It's really hard.
I had one instance of this. There was a tree branch. I park across the road here at the house, and I usually park in this spot that's clear, but I had to park under this tree branch. And this is a good example of don't say a negative statement. So I said to myself, don't run into that tree branch.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what happened an hour later?
Run into
I
that
ran
tree
into the
branch.
tree branch. It went right into my eye, actually. It went right in my left eye.
Oh my
And
God.
sound effects definitely included. And my eye swelled up, and I felt it later, and I thought I felt a tumor on my eye. But I never looked at it in the mirror. I was so scared, Monica. I was like, don't look. Just don't look. It's too scary to look, right? Exactly what you're talking about. And then Noelle is over here last week, and this is how perceptive she is. She's looking at me, and no one else caught it except for, she goes, what the hell's wrong with your left eye?
Mhm.
I'm like, I hit a tree branch. She goes, Craig, it looks horrible. It's all red and swollen. And so my eye had fluid oozing out of it all week last week.
Oh my
And I started taking the eye protomorphogen in a product called iPlex from Standard Process. It's a multivitamin for the eye. The letter I, Plex, is a multivitamin for vision. So I started taking that, and 48 hours later, most of the swelling went gone and was, still a little bit of ooze today. But to your point, Monica, yes, it's hard to look because once we look, then we're responsible for changing the bad thing we see, right?
Yep. We don't want that. We want to pretend it's not there.
I
Isabel.
wanted to add a little perspective because you are saying they don't have the self-love. I want to say they have self-love, and they think that they deserve this
Yeah.
soothing. For
Mhm.
them, it's like this is what I deserve. This is how I treat myself, right?
Right.
So they think of it as self-love by doing it,
Uh-huh.
versus you thinking they don't have the self-love to not record it. They don't want to see it because they are saying this is how I'm treating myself.
This is how I'm adapting to my stressful overwhelm in my life.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is how I'm copying my primary caregivers in the way that they loved me
Yes.
much more. Because unfortunately, a lot of us, the love came in the form of a cookie when you got hurt. Or
Well, when you go to the dentist as a child, what do you got?
Candy.
At the end, you got
Candy,
unbelievable.
lolly,
Yeah.
right?
lollipop.
Yes.
Now, my dentist had a bucket like this big, and
Return
it
business.
was just a bonanza of sugar, like Halloween on steroids. Like reach in there, and my mom would be like, "Oh, you don't cavities? Grab your sugar and your fluoride pills, those little blue fluoride pills."
2 poisons. Uh-huh. That's shocking.
But it's really, even with, with the folks that I'm following up on, the folks who cannot do it, they cannot do it because they know it's not that in their head, they know that they should be doing it and they have self-love for them, but for some reason they make the excuse because they know that it would take away their treat. It would make them take away their treat, and they can't, they are just not able to do it.
Or to help them the treat, the actual treat. Stop thinking of poisonous treat.
So my point of contention then, where the self-love comes in, is conflicting desires. So there's a shadow desire. That's what I call a pathological desire. And I spent 5 to 10 years sorting through what was a real craving versus a pathological craving. And if someone isn't interested in doing that work to root out and explore the shadow, I would contend that there's not enough self-love. And they need to be pushed down into the pain cycle to have them summon it or leave the planet. I agree with you, Isabel, but there's more to it than that. There's still self-hate in there on some level. Otherwise, they would make the change to feel better.
I think you guys are saying is not entirely fair, and that might apply to some people, but I think you're completely disqualifying the power of the addictive qualities of sugar and the controlling qualities of yeast when it exists in the gut.
True. It's a great point, Shannon.
It's really, really hard to get off sugar especially when like you're actually not eating that much sweet stuff, like that's obviously sugar, when, sugar exists in like sauces that you wouldn't imagine that it was in, or salad dressing that you thought was healthy or whatever. Like when you're really, really trying to be super strict about it, and then all of the control that's not even like, it's all like completely subconscious, that it happens at like almost like an automatic response, where like I've been trying to get off sugar for so long, and part of it is just like stress. I'm like super busy in my day, and I go to the refrigerator and I'm hungry and I don't know what to eat, so so rather than because I don't know what to eat, then I don't eat anything, and then I go through my day and I'm like telling myself, okay, well, I'm doing my intermittent fasting and that's good for me, and then eventually I just get completely worn down. At least in the past, I've been actually doing really well with it since January, but in the past, and I get so worn down. It's just like whatever's quick and available, whatever's quick and easy and cheap. And, all the sugary, or all the foods that are subsidized have sugar, and all the cheap stuff's pretty much been subsidized and has sugar in it. So, and in order to like actually do it, I had to get super, super like anal about like, okay, pre-planning what I'm trying to eat, and also taking money I don't have or that I can't really afford to spend, but spending it to pay a friend of mine who I wanted to tell you guys about because she's awesome, but she has this new business called Summit Lady Foods, and she's making, it's all like all fresh stuff. It's all like 100%, like all the stuff we want to be eating, basically soups, like bone broth based soups. And anyway, she made these really awesome salad dressings, and then it was her idea that I would pre-make salads in a quart jar, and then they're in the refrigerator all ready to go. So now I have fast food, like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, grab my salad. There it is. There's the yummy dressing right next to it, ready to go.
Shannon, I have a question from Anna, and we're down to last 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm gonna say thank you. And I agree with you. And I could give you a reflection of 4 or 5 things you just said that tell me, because it took me 8 years to get off sugar and wheat. 8 years. So I know the struggle, and I've been there, but every day, every week I was plugging forward. And what I have now, I don't have a place to live, Shannon. I got nothing. So I got carrots and celery, and yes, you have to pre-plan. The pre-planning is the love. It's the past self nurturing the future self. And if we don't do that, I'm sorry, I'm going back to there's not enough love. Too much confusion, taking on too much, believing the stories that our gut bugs are telling us. Yes, so I'm here to challenge people and be audacious. So I'm going to keep with my statement that yes, there is an element that needs to be explored of why am I continuing to feed these bugs? And I had to do it myself. We all have to do it. Otherwise, we're going to go back into the earth as rot. And that's not how I want to end this life. Because I've seen people die of candida, 3, and it was fucking awful. I will never end up like that. One lady lost her fingers and toes, and the other 2 smelled like mold the last time I saw them a month before they died. So I had a fire under my ass as a young man. Like that's never going to happen to me. Because I am the chooser, not these freaking bugs. I am powerful, not these bugs. I am the seat of consciousness, not these bugs. So that's the attitude we need to have of the shouting voice. I'm in control. We need that power, because what you're describing is the disempowerment that's built into the system here. Yes. But they want us making excuses. They want us doing this. And I saw this 40 years ago. I'm not making excuses. I'm going to own my own, imbalances. And that's why I've got a very difficult scenario. But if I can't eat something good, I am not eating. I am not eating if I can't eat something good. It's just not an option. And we all need to have that kind of foot down. I am not eating unless it's high quality food. I am not putting shitty oils in my body. I'm never doing fast food. I've done fast food in 25 years. Not even once. Driving down the freeway? Nope, not going there.
Hey, what about that pizza that Bernadette and David brought home recently?
Yeah, and I came out of an angry, upset few weeks where I had wheat
case
like
in
5
point,
times
right?
in 2 weeks, and
Perfect.
it wasn't good. Your hand was up, Anna.
Yeah. 2 things real quick. I wanted to acknowledge Shannon, and I wanted to what she just brought up. And then also the other point is Isabel talking about between 1 and 3 a.m. sleep disruption and specific organs in Chinese medicine that are reacting and causing that. So I wanted to, see what your take was on that. And if there's, I know you said about like letting go, but it's like the end of the cleansing. Is that like liver or?
The liver, gallbladder, spleen are storing and purifying the blood after sleep for the first 4 or 5 hour cycle, if we go to bed before midnight.
Yeah.
And then the next cycle is the lung, and then the large intestine follows that. And that's why, like, I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and had to have a bowel movement. Like, that's a healthy large intestine energy.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then Shannon, I wanted to say, coming from a family of addicts, Craig knows me really well. I'm still in recovery around sugar, and it's not as hard as it used to be for me, but I was like at the effect of it, and I was addicted to it, and I didn't realize how bad I was. And, you know, I whined and bawled and cried and pissed and moaned to Craig for many, many years that, like, and what has now been working for me is for a few years now, still some roller coaster, still some up and down, but like 90, 95%, 98% most of the time. So prepping, planning, not having, I live with somebody else who has decided, because I said of my struggle, he said, okay, I'll take the ice cream and the chocolate out of the house. And so that won't be here anymore. And I said, oh my God,
Yes.
please, thank God. You know, I just said, hey, I'm struggling with it. And then he chose to be kind enough to say, and he noticed himself how it's actually helping him, which is great. And he's actually acknowledging how my bringing more vegetables, cooking all the time, helping him. So I say all that to say it's been a lot of years. I started this journey about 2013-ish. It's been a lot of years. There's a really great book called The Case Against Sugar by an investigative reporter, Gary Taubes. And he does talk about how the brain lights up much like cocaine when we eat sugar. And so it is highly addictive. I have two siblings who are homeless and in and out of drugs and incarceration. Drugs and alcoholism is very strong in my family. I attract partners that are addicts. And so it's real, it's true. And I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. It is real and it is true. And it is, I just keep trying to surround myself with people that are on the same path, that want to be on the same path, that will support my path. And I've had to let go of really great friends and family members who don't support that path, and keep only the foods in my fridge that will support that. And it's work every day.
There you go, Anna. We're at 102. That's what makes the circle great, because I'm not the end all of everything. I'm just giving you guys my report card of 30, 35 years. And, you know, and I expect to be challenged when I'm a little out of line. And so there's more to this, of course, but I'm here to be an audacious individual. So my homework for those of you that are stuck in the craving cycle then is to study, what is the process occurring? When the cravings are out of control, what is that process that's occurring? Because it's a process occurring. And that lean in and get curious about, what are these cravings? Who are these bugs? What about these addictive patterns? It's the lean in that starts to get answers versus the lean back, we don't get answers. So it's sort of like, Denise asked for the name of the book. The other book that's the classic that I have is Sugar Blues, just simply Sugar Blues, William Duffy. That was by a Chicago Examiner reporter, written in the 60s and 70s. That book will change your life.
There's also a YouTube by, I don't know the first name, but his last name is Lustig,
Yeah.
Lustig, on sugar. He has some really awesome visuals as to what sugar does in your brain.
All I had to see-
Lustig.
Robert, yeah, I think Robert, Lustig.
G.
Yeah.
What I started to do was I bought books and collected images of candida overgrown in the body and parasites and worms. And I would look at them every day to remind myself of what the hell's living inside me. I would just remind myself every day, like, you got to get this under control, bro. You got to get this under control. These critters are running your life. You got to get this under control. And you can't have a war. There can't be a war. There can't be violence. It has to be, hey, we need to prune you guys down there and prune you up. I love you. You're a part of me. But let's prune you up. Because if you say, what I do is I'm going to wipe you out. I'm going to kill you again. Nuclear bomb down there. Anti-candida. MMS. All of it. And never went anywhere. Never went anywhere until I changed the war to cooperation. So one more quick screen share just to end this, because I didn't finish the thought here. So we're doing the blood sugar, what lines up, right? And that's kind of where this discussion started, is like, what does the chooser need? And so the chooser needs protein, potassium, and chromium. Plus, you could make an argument that there's what they call rasayana, or adaptogenic herbs. Adaptogenic herbs. And gotu kola is one. What's another one? Gotu kola is one.
Ashwagandha.
Well, let's see. Sure, it's calming. Yeah, ashwagandha, copa, gynostemma, St. John's wort. This is kind of the maximum mental alert blend. That's why I made it. It's for the chooser. Ginkgo, rosemary. Rosemary also is liver detox, folks, and circulation. But so is gynostemma. Okay. So that just kind of ends. Next time we'll finish filling in. Think about what elements and nutrition is needed for digestion, detox, and drainage. We'll talk about that next time. Or tonight, even a little bit. That's why I love the idea of doing two groups, because I had this teacher that had the same class at different times of the week. And I would go to the different classes every now and then just to see what the other group was doing. And it was always really interesting, just a different energy, different material. So the evening group will be slower.
Will that mean that you will have different recordings on your post-it too?
Maybe, yeah, let's.
You mean daytime and night?
Yeah, and how do you make that distinction so that one can follow one thread and one can follow the other thread, or at least distinguish between the two?
Yeah.
Well, we'll start out with the YouTube playlist will be the morning foundations and the evening foundations, and I'll directly upload the different videos to those different playlists. So it's easy to see what's what to start. Is that that seems the obvious thing. And so in the next email, I'll say, this is your YouTube playlist for the evening class. This is the morning class. And you can.
Okay. Because right now we don't have the YouTube link to the evening class, right? Right now we don't.
None of that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But this is where I really appreciate you, Isabel. Bernie does these kind of questions. Monica does these kind of questions. Anna does. A lot of you are more detail oriented of stuff that I miss. And that's a good detail to keep in mind. Like Shannon bringing in the addiction part of sugar and, challenging the self-love part a little bit, which there's no doubt in my mind that we all have self-love. It's just a matter of, is the destructive cycle stronger than the self-love, right? And the destructive cycle sometimes is, and that's where people, like Carlos Castaneda, I read his life story again and a long biography about him, and he was consumed, he died of liver cancer. So what is the emotion of the liver? Anger. Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons to think that, he was a charlatan and a fraud. So his process was full of
Rudolf Steiner also died of cancer, so it might also be a question of how much can you actually stomach.
Craig, would it be a charlatan or just he wasn't walking his talk?
Both. Having studied his work over most of my adult lifetime, over 30 years, this new biography put together all the data of the people who studied Castaneda and sat outside the home for years on end, photographing, documenting, even looking through his trash can for 5-10 years and sorting through trash. Fascinating detective work about this man. And there was no doubt he made up a bunch of things, not true. And there's no doubt there's also teachings in there that are very relevant. So one guy at the very end of the book said, a reporter that had been studying Castaneda for 20, 30 years, he said, you can hide truths within untrue things. You can hide truths of life within untrue things. And that's what Castaneda was doing.
hide, is hide the right word?
Well, embed, bring
Embed,
in. what are-
Legitimize the untrue things by putting the true things in there, and that's the problem.
Yeah, better word choice. Yeah, better word choice.
And speaking of better word choices, could you call it the midday foundations class instead of morning? Because we're only partly in the morning and totally split between midday. So I'd rather. you
I
call
like
it-
midday.
I
I
like
like midday because 11 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Midday group. Yeah. We'll call it the midday group and the evening group. And so we'll have Anna and Dean on the evening group. And if you have especially somebody who's sort of new and they want to try it out, we're not really seeing people on that group yet, but Anna will announce next week when she's ready because we're getting close.
Great.
Gotta load those videos up and talk more and
That's
get the
right.
PowerPoints up. And see, I don't have the PowerPoints built yet. So until I do, the first 3 or 4 PowerPoints, I don't want to have her start because I want to be able to just load the PowerPoint, load the video, start, make it easy.
Yeah. Great.
All right, you guys, 111, it's 111. We're ending on 111.
Perfect.
All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome day.
Bless you all. Hey,
Okay.
you,
Yes.
go into
Bye.
the-
Thank you.
Love you all. And I'll
Thank
see some of
you.
tonight and some of you next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.